It's a good laugh. And watching the news reports was hilarious. But Nicola, I can see you've fulminating as you were listening to this. But why? Because just as I was doing, all he's really saying is, look, if we genuinely are moving to limitless self-identity,
we're not.
This is where it can go.
We're not.
Well, we are, though.
We're not moving to limitless self-identity. There's male, female, non-binary. That's it. There's three.
That's not it. BBC teaches there are 100 genders.
Genders is different. Genders is different. We're talking... Those
what sex is non-binary?
But somewhere between male and female.
It's not, though, is it? That's not non-binary.
There are over 100 gender identities.
No, okay,
non-binary is not...
there are.
Non-binary is not biological sex.
The BBC and various other outlets have said, I hear the 72 genders quite often. That's just 72 different ways of describing something. You could also argue there's only 3 colours. Red, yellow and blue. But a mixture of all those make multitudes of colours. It's the same thing with gender. But
how did you feel,
male,
for example,
female and non-binary.
How did you feel about an American cyclist, Austin Killips, becoming the first transgender athlete to win a women's professional stage race?
Yes.
Right? This has caused complete outrage, and apparently the vast majority, you see towering over the female competitors.
But who's to say that height necessarily gives you an advantage?
Clearly.
But a lot of people will say...
Because like all these trans athletes, when you look at how they competed as males, they didn't compete with anything like the success. So clearly they have a physical, biological advantage purely from having gone through puberty. It is indisputable. So anyone who tries... The moment I hear anyone on this side of the trans activist argument, I support trans rights to fairness and equality, but the moment I hear anyone on that side of the argument trying to defend what's happening in sport, in women's sport, they lose me. Because you're denying biological facts.
But do you know how many trans athletes that have competed in the Olympics? One.
OK, so here's what you do with the Olympics. Let's remove any specific gender from Olympic qualification.
OK.
What do you think would happen?
Well, that's...
What would happen?
What would happen is that...
How many women would compete in the Olympics if it was gender neutral?
Probably just as many women would compete, but on certain sports,
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't qualify. No women would qualify.
Okay.
Apart from equestrian and shooting, I think. Everything else.
But you're taking it.
No, Nicola. Here's my point.
Your argument, but
there is a reason we separate the sexes in sport.
Absolutely. Yes, because men, generally speaking, are stronger
and more. Because it's unfair on women. Wouldn't win any medals.
Because it's unfair on women.
So why is it fair for people who are biological males to put their hand up and say I'm a woman and compete against biological females?
Because you're being disingenuous.
It's cheating.
They don't have to put their hands up and say I'm a woman. They have to transition for 2 years, and for 2 years they have to be on hormone replacement therapy.
Can I ask a question about that? Because I feel, how is this in line with the anti-doping legislation? Because on one hand, you have people like Serena Williams who actually failed a drug test for taking too much aspirin, but you're allowing biological males to pump their bodies full of all sorts of hormones, so their testosterone levels, which is not all women are, by the way, we're much more than just testosterone.
Exactly, I agree with you.
To be within a certain range.
Why are they?
Well, Austin Killips won't be having periods every month, which will affect training, for example.
I don't have periods every month.
Well, that you're unique. I'm sorry. Most
women... No, a lot of women don't have periods any month if you're on your coil. Well,
right.
That's
but a lot of sportswomen have told me that is rarely mentioned as one of the reasons why it's also incredibly unfair. But you just have to see Austin Killips towering over the biological female.
But let's talk about what was his name. Ryan Webb. You know, Piers, that Ryan Webb is not being genuine, and that's why the people on the left, such as myself,
what is the standard of genuine?
No, he's genuinely sending up the hypocrisy.
He's sending up the hypocrisy, as you were saying. You know, I want to identify as a black lesbian. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so nobody is saying that you can identify as a different race or you can identify as...
Even though it's more logical.
Why can't
Because race actually is a spectrum.
Exactly.
Sex isn't.
I actually had my DNA done, and I discovered I had no English DNA whatsoever, mainly Celt, so it was like Scottish, Irish, a lot of Irish.
But then this is genuine.
No, but hang on, I'm 6% Middle Eastern. Yes. So am I an Arab?
Yeah.
6% of you is.
I could identify as Arabic.
Yeah, but ultimately you are...
And yet you would say, and most Arabic people would say, what are you talking about? You're not. Well, You're born in England, you're a white guy, you're not Arabic, right? However, it's more complicated, far more complicated than biological sex.
Yeah, biological sex. Look, can you define for me then what is what is a man?
Yeah, it's an adult male.
And what is an adult male?
And an adult male is an adult male. It's a biological...
Sex chromosomes, pretty easy to define.
Chromosome, fact-based thing.
But what makes
It's like I asked the Prime Minister of Australia.
The chromosomes.
I asked the Prime Minister of Australia, what is a woman? And he replied, it's an adult female. This is not difficult.
But what defines a man?
The chromosomes. Take any cell in a male's body.
And what are the male chromosomes?
Let's play with the Prime Minister of Australia. Here we are, look.
Very easily.
What is a woman, Prime Minister?
An adult female.
How difficult was that to answer?
Not too hard.
He was just on Time magazine's 100 most influential list, named by Justin Trudeau the wokest human being in the history of planet Earth as the champion of progressive politics around the world. Even he understands what a woman is.
Yes.
You know what's happened to him today all around Australia? Absolutely buried with abuse from the trans activist mob who say what he said there was transphobic. Transphobic for saying a woman is an adult female. It's nuts.